If you think today's kids have it rough with their endless safety rules, just wait until you hear about the wild adventures of Generation X. Imagine a time when childhood was a thrilling playground filled with daring rooftop climbs and explosive nighttime displays that lit up the skies. Kids turned summer nights into colorful chaos, launching homemade rockets and rolling firecracker-filled Tonka trucks toward unsuspecting friends, all while laughing at the sharp sting of stepping on jacks. Curious about what fueled this explosive childhood? Stick around until the end to uncover the vibrant centerpiece of their unforgettable adventures: television. In the 70s, television was a big deal even without cable. Most households relied on rabbit ear antennas, often wrapped in tinfoil. And when the signal went bad, adjusting the rooftop antenna became a family project. Dad was in front of the TV directing a kid on the roof to move it around while the rest of the family relayed instructions. No one worried about the dangers. Kids loved the view from the roof, and today antennas and those risky climbs have been long gone. Outdoor activities. Summers were all about outdoor fun. Running around with friends meant eventually grabbing a drink from the garden hose despite its metallic taste. It wasn't seen as unhealthy back then. Kids often spent hours on slip and slides, which often led to broken bones or grass burns from flying off the edges. Water sprinklers weren't much safer either. Some had metal fan blades that spun fast enough to cut toes. But those risks didn't stop kids from having a blast outdoors. The milkman and daily deliveries. Imagine waking up to the sound of the milkman's horse-drawn cart clip-clopping down the street. The bottles would clink as they were left on the doorstep, sometimes with a special treat: chocolate milk. This was a daily routine in the 1950s as milk, butter, and other essentials were delivered right to your doorstep. The sight of the milkman was as regular as the sunrise, and in some towns, you might even catch a whiff of the hay from this horse's cart. Food in the 1950s was simple yet comforting. One of the most popular lunch staples of the time was the Fluffernutter sandwich. 2 slices of bread filled with creamy peanut butter and marshmallow fluff, sometimes with banana slices with extra sweetness. Sun protection. Sunblock wasn't a big concern in the 70s. Kids played outside all day with barely a trace of sunscreen, maybe SPF 4 at best. Sunburns were just part of the fun, and peeling skin was a game to see who could shed the biggest flake. Teenagers, eager for golden tans, sped up the process with coconut oil. Today, high SPF sunscreens rule, but back then, the sun was just part of life. Parents. Parenting in the 70s meant giving kids more freedom. Parents trusted their kids to explore the world without constant supervision. If they got hurt, it was often met with laughter as long as it wasn't serious. The whole community looked out for each other's kids, and it was understood that independence was how they learned. Mimeographs and the classroom smell. Schools in the 1950s had a unique scent, especially when it came to paper copies. Mimeographs were used to duplicate worksheets, and the purple ink and distinctive smell of those freshly printed pages became a nostalgic part of the classroom experience. These copies were made with a hand-cranked machine, a far cry from today's sleek printers. S&H green stamps. Saving stamps wasn't just a thing of the past, it was serious business in the 1950s. S&H green stamps were a reward system for shopping at certain stores. Families would collect these little green stickers and paste them into booklets. Once a booklet was filled, it could be traded for items with the SH catalog, anything from household goods to toys. It was an exciting way to earn a little extra just for doing the family's grocery shopping. Bikes. Bikes were the ultimate tool for adventure. Kids rode for hours, often far from home, without their parents knowing exactly where they were. Dangerous jumps off makeshift ramps were normal. No helmets, no pads. just excitement and the occasional crash. Parents watched from a distance, amused by the stunts, knowing it was all part of growing up. Family life, the cookie-cutter suburbs. In the 1950s, family life was often depicted as idyllic and orderly. Many families lived in suburban homes where moms stayed home to care for the kids in the house, while dads went off to work in the family car. Life was predictable but comfortable. Sunday mornings were reserved for church, and afterwards you might find the family gathered around the kitchen table for a hearty home-cooked meal. Radio flyer wagons and roller skates. Kids in the 1950s didn't need smartphones or video games to stay entertained. They had radio flyer wagons and metal roller skates. The classic red wagon was a staple for pulling friends and toys or even helping with neighborhood chores. Roller skates with their adjustable keys meant hours of fun, even if sometimes resulting in skinned knees. Door-to-door salesman, the Fuller Brush Man. Another memorable aspect of life in the 1950s was the door-to-door salesman. The Fuller Brush Man, with his collection of cleaning tools, would knock on doors offering brushes, brooms, and other household essentials. His visits were frequent, and housewives often invited him in to see the latest wares. It wasn't uncommon for these salesmen to demonstrate their products, making them a fixture in American neighborhoods. Cigarettes. In the past, cigarette smoke was unavoidable, and nearly every household had at least one smoker. Parents would send their kids into convenience stores to buy cigarettes while they waited in the car. A simple nod from the parent was often enough for the clerk to sell a pack. If a parent wasn't around, a handwritten note scribbled on anything from a receipt to a scrap of paper would suffice. Please sell John a carton of cigarettes. Thanks, Mom. Unbelievable as it sounds, this worked, and there's no way kids could ever get away with that today. Car safety. Car safety wasn't taken too seriously back then. Seat belts were mandatory in cars after 1968, but wearing them didn't become common until the mid-1980s. Kids would stand up on the front seat to see over the dash, and Dad's outstretched arm was their seatbelt. Some kids even lay up on the back dash, picking their noses and waving at cop cars behind them. When Dad hit the brake, we'd fly forward, crashing into the back of the front seat, only to climb back up again and do it all over. Lawn darts. Toys back then were a different breed, and lawn darts were one of the most dangerous. With sharp, weighted points, they could easily pierce the ground or someone's foot. If you didn't move quickly enough, clackers or click-clacks were another risky toy that could shatter into flying shards of plastic. Despite the hazards, many toys survived the years, and some can still be found in homes today, serving as relics. Kite flying. In the past, kids often found joy in simple activities like kite flying, where creativity and a bit of danger came together. Children would attach razor blades to their kites, swooping down to cut their friends' strings. If successful, the rival kite would soar freely, a trophy of victory. But if your kite nosedived, quick reflexes were essential to dodge those sharp blades. BB guns were also a childhood staple, allowing kids to roam the neighborhood with a weapon strapped to their handlebars. Epic BB wars erupted, with safety taking a back seat to excitement. Looking back at these adventurous childhood days, it's clear that times were simpler, more creative, and often a little bit risky. The experiences from that era still bring smiles and spark nostalgia for many. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more engaging content, and share any memorable stories in the comments. There's always more to explore, so stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching.